Good afternoon, good evening, folks, wherever you're joining us from. You're very welcome to our Friday evening live stream. Tell us where you're joining from, what's in your glass this evening, if anything. We are here, of course, to launch our very exciting whiskey weekend in Porto, in Portugal, in October. We're super excited about this one. This will be our second international little bus trip this year. We're doing one, of course, in September to the Isle of Islay in Scotland, and a couple of weeks later we'll be heading over the water to the beautiful coastal city of Porto in Portugal. So we're really, really excited. As I said, let us know where you're joining from this evening, what's in your glass. Hello, everybody. Barry, Anthony, Adrian, how are we?
Cheers. How are you?
Hello.
I'm starting off this evening, starting off strong actually with a Redbreast 27, one of my favorite port aged whiskies, port finished whiskies. I have a wee Outwalker whiskey lined up for later as well, which that will become the reason why in time. What about yourselves?
Sorry. I've found a bottle of Carnlough. So that's the 360 moment. So I'm enjoying a ruby port finish, a 6-year-old pot still with a ruby port finish, finished in the casks that we got in Portugal. So I'm enjoying that.
Very good.
Lovely.
I'm on the road, but I have a few whiskies here. I've got a Teeling pot still, an exclusive release for Hawksmoor restaurants. So sipping on that at the moment. No port involved in this one, sadly, but I lived through Lauren's pour.
And I'm going easy tonight because we were at a launch last night in the Palace Bar of the new single cask for the Palace. So I thought if I'm only having one this evening, go big.
Jeez.
Method and Madness 28-year-old. Do I win top trumps? Do I get it?
I'm going home now. I'm going off screen. There's no point in me being here. It's the end of it.
Poor old Carnlough has no chance.
Really? Turn the camera off, going home. Yeah, and
the problem, Adrian, is I've got your bottles in my office, but I'm not in my office. So what can I do? I have to struggle on with what I've got.
You've blown us all out of the water there, Anthony. I thought I was doing well with the Redbreast there. Here we go. Anyway, yeah, so I mean, we're really, really excited about this trip. It's been in the planning for a good few months now. I think probably even from the end of last year, we had started to tease the possibility of something like this happening. And of course, we're absolutely delighted to be hosting this trip in collaboration with the Harbourview Hotel, which is Ireland's first whiskey hotel in Carnlough, County Antrim. And we're even more delighted that on our trip in October, we'll be joined by Daryl McNally, who is the renowned master distiller of Limavady Irish whiskey. He brings decades of expertise to the table from his time working at the Old Bushmills distillery as well, both in distillation and maturation, and all things cask management and sourcing as well. And of course, we're joined tonight as well by Adrian McLaughlin, who is the co-owner of Harbourview Hotel itself, and the co-founder of Limavady Outwalker and Carnlough Irish Whiskey. And this is a real, as you said, Adrian, a real 360 moment, I think you said there, for yourself. It's a real full circle moment for you and for the Harbourview Hotel, and specifically Carnlough Irish Whiskey, because you visited Porto last year, and to the specific cooperage that we're actually going to, which we'll come on to a little bit later, to source some port casks to age Carnlough whiskey in the hotel. Isn't that right?
Yeah, so there was an area of the hotel that lended itself quite nicely to a very, very small warehouse, and I came up with this notion that we could maybe finish and blend our own whiskies. And Daryl quite quickly said, well, I know where we should go. And we made arrangements and off we went to Porto. And we hooked up with the Tanneria Josepha and the people there. And there was Darrell, myself, and Carl, the three owners of the hotel at the time. And it was great working with Darrell, going through the whole thing. Like, we're going through these cooperages, we could see all this oak, we see all this machinery going, and he led us through it. But the experience, particularly in the cooperage, just stays with me. It stays with me for the craft that was going on, for the heritage that we were seeing and experiencing, the hospitality that the owners of the cooperage showed us was amazing, and how they just looked after what they were doing, and they were, encouraging us to ask a lot of questions, encouraging us to find out a little bit more about everything that went on there, and it was just fantastic. Really, we just were made to feel so welcome, and we ended up with Darrell did his thing and decided, that okay, this is he went through all the quality processes, and we're sitting behind him and we're enjoying glasses of port and Madeira, and he's talking and he's doing all the stuff, and brilliant, and we hooked up a relationship there very, very quickly, and we ended up doing our business, and the guys from the cooperage took us to the beach, and we had a lovely glass of wine in the sun, and beautiful. It was a fantastic experience we had with Darrell, and then we ended up with another place that we'll talk about later. But anyway, that's the cooperage.
That really sounds like hard work, Adrian. I mean, you must have come home and really punished yourself for struggling.
Genuinely, I was a passenger, but I think it was pretty hard work for Darrell, because it's not. It looks, you can make it sound romantic and great, but actually there's business to be done here, and if we're investing in these casks, they need to be right, and what is the liquor and the liquid inside these casks, and what are we going to get up, and so we're tasting the port, and at that time we did Tawny Port, Ruby Port, and Madeira casks as well. They had some really good Madeira casks, and Darrell's tasting it. He's like, yes, I think we'll have this one, these ones, and let's go for that, and that'll do us. And so, I mean, it was honestly really enjoyable, but brilliant also to stand behind someone who really gets it and has been there before, and you learn, that's all, and we're all learning in this world. So that was a big part of it.
Absolutely. And Adrian, you yourself, obviously, you bring yourself decades of expertise from hospitality all across Ireland. You've managed some of the most renowned and respected names in Irish hospitality, the Merchant Hotel Belfast, Carton House in Kildare, and you've really kind of come into the whiskey world in a ball of fire in the best way possible, and you've really immersed yourself into the world of Irish whiskey, and especially with the Harbourview Hotel. So for those of the people in the audience who maybe aren't as familiar with you, or they've kind of just, you've been introduced to our audience in the last few months, do you want to kind of give us a little bit of an overview of what you're doing at the Harbourview Hotel? Because we're, as you know, the three of us are huge fans of what you're doing there, and we're obviously bringing the whiskey bus there in September, which we're really excited for as well. So if you want to give us a little insight into that and kind of how all of this came about.
Yeah, I mean, and thanks to you three for supporting us, because you supported us from day one. You kind of bought into a mad vision that I was selling.
We're all mad.
So I think that the hotel came around the joining of two people. One was Darrell, and the other was myself. And when you think about a whiskey hotel in Ireland, well, that's two pretty good brains and skill sets to put together to try and create something. And so the hotel is on the north coast of County Antrim. It's on the coast road, so we look over to Scotland every day. It's an old hotel that dates back to 1848. It was built by the Marchioness of Londonderry and once owned by Winston Churchill. So there's a lot of charm and a lot of character. And we remind ourselves day and daily that it's a hotel first and a whiskey hotel second, because there's a standard of hospitality that we must offer our guests every time. But what we try and do is make it really super friendly. It's not, and it's not like the Merchant Hotel. The Merchant Hotel in Belfast, for those who don't know, is Belfast really first 5-star hotel that meant, ultra luxe, celebrating actually 20 years this week. So in that hotel, you had to script certain scenarios. You had to really train the staff to say certain things in a certain way. In our hotel in Carnlough, we do everything the opposite. It's all about our people. It's all about the people in the hotel. They're all from the area, and we want it to be as authentic to that area as possible. So the dialect will come in. There's no cleansing of that. It's just be yourselves, guys, and just be friendly, and that's what we do. However, we've that's not to say that we don't offer good standards. We've just won recently Northern Ireland's best place to stay, as awarded by the Times and the Sunday Times, and we also have just announced this week that we achieved 4 stars. So that's testimony to the quality of the property. Beyond that, when you get into whiskey, we've just increased our whiskey flights this year. So we have 28 different whiskey flights. I'm not just all distillery, let's do Bushmills, let's do Teeling. No, they're blended together to tell stories. There are some really interesting ones there. So we've got over 300 Irish whiskies. We've got a shop that people can buy whiskey in and take away by the bottle. We've got shipping with our good friend Anthony, who, if people would like to ship Irish whiskey, then through the selection that we have, we can arrange that. And then having spent quite a big investment in the property, the actual piece that people want to see is the warehouse, and that's the piece that we spent the least amount of money on. So we can take people to our small warehouse, and in the warehouse they can sample straight from our casks. The Portuguese casks, the Tanneria Josepher casks, which is what we use, all 64-litre casks. So you can fill your own bottle in the hotel. There's lots of different experiences and journeys that we can take people on in terms of really solid, old school Irish hospitality mixed in with the beauty that is Irish whiskey.
That's unbelievable. And I mean, I think we're painting a very pretty picture here as to why this trip made so much sense to work with yourselves on this, and Adrian, yourself and Daryl, to go to Porto specifically. And because we had a few questions, why Porto, why there? And really, first and foremost, Porto is an absolutely stunning city. If you've never been before, you're missing out. It is Portugal's second largest city after Lisbon. It has a population of about 230,000 people in the main kind of city area. It sits nestled along the Douro River, so it has an incredibly rich maritime history. The kind of downtown Porto area is a UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. It's famous, as you can see, for the beautiful coloured kind of terracotta roofs on the buildings, and of course, being the birthplace of port. And I think, and I'm sure a few of you would agree with me, I think sometimes port wine and port aged whiskies sometimes get overlooked slightly in favour of sherry. And it makes me sad because port is amazing. There's so many different styles of port. They're made in different ways to give them incredibly different characters. And it's such an incredible fortified wine to dive into. And really, that's why we wanted to bring you to Porto. So essentially, we're taking you on a step backwards to tell you the journey, the story of port wine and port casks before they even touch Irish soil to be used in the aging of Irish whiskey. And we're just so excited about this as well. And obviously, Adrian, as you said earlier, it's a real kind of full circle moment for you. Almost a year later, launching a port trip when you sourced the cask from the cooperage. So it's taking place, folks, from the 8th to the 11th of October this year, of course, 2026. So 3 nights in this beautiful city. As I said, we're going to take you a little step backwards to learn all about port. We are going to be visiting a cooperage to see port casks being constructed and toasted, visiting the Douro Valley, and an incredible whiskey bar as well in a nutshell. But the first thing we're going to tell you, which is the most important thing, is where you're going to rest your head for a few nights in the city. And that is in the Porto Palacio Hotel. So this is a beautiful 5-star hotel, just a little bit outside of the main kind of central, the kind of downtown Porto area. And it has a spa as well. So you've got your heated pools, your steam rooms, your saunas in there too. And it has a beautiful rooftop terrace as well with 360 views over Porto city itself and out into the harbour too. So it's a really, really gorgeous hotel. I'll be there next week for a few nights as well. So I'll take a few more videos and photos for you. Boots on the ground journalism, we'll call it, to report back as to how this hotel is for us to stay in October. Have you been to, I know obviously Barry and Adrian, you've been to Porto. Have you, Anthony?
Porto, no.
No? Okay. This is your first time.
No, first for me as well. But I think that's one of the things where that's where we're excelling with the business, is that the stories behind the whiskies itself. I mean, the experiences. So having Daryl and Adrian with us, I think is just going to be really, really exceptional to go there with that as well. And we're not slumming it as well. We're not sharing a domes.
Never. Of course not.
We don't do that.
Of course not. So you can see there the beautiful kind of pool area, the spa, the heated beds you can see there, absolutely gorgeous. And then the rooftop terrace, as I said, with 360 views around Porto and out to the harbour. So absolutely gorgeous place to stay for 3 nights. Now, while we're on this topic, one of the main questions we've been getting today is actually regarding flights to Porto itself. A lot of you will be coming from Ireland. There's a lot of guests interested from Ireland, which is incredible. So naturally enough, the airport that we'll be departing from is Dublin. And on the 8th of October, there is one flight to Porto with Ryanair at 7:30 p.m. So 7:30 in the evening. And that is the flight that we will be recommending. We'll send out a newsletter in the next couple of days and weeks regarding flights as well. But that is the flight that we highly recommend that you take. Obviously, if you're coming from slightly further afield, I know we have a few guests from the US booked on already, which is amazing. You will probably, I would imagine, depending where you're coming from, if it's East Coast, you'll probably go via London. I would imagine, Barry, you might know probably more about that, but I would imagine it might be London to Porto.
Yeah, I would say if you're coming from Ireland, book your flights as soon as you can.
Totally.
And then otherwise, because that's a direct flight. But if you can't get a direct flight, there's lots of hubs, whether it's Manchester, London.
Yeah,
there'll be a few other spots as well.
Exactly. Even into Lisbon as well. There's slightly more regular flights to Lisbon, even at that time of year, kind of October time into the winter, if that was an option too. But as Barry said, don't hesitate. Book your flights as soon as possible if you're interested. So with the flight times, we do lose the majority of the first day, but not to worry, because the flight home on the 11th is late at night as well. It's like 9:45 p.m. at night. So what you lose on the first day will more than gain back on the second day as well, which is great. So they do work out well in that regard. So our first real day in Porto then will be the Friday. And we're starting off, as we mentioned earlier, by visiting the Cooperage. So Tano Aria in Portuguese is Cooperage, so the José Fer Cooperage. It was founded in 1962 by Jose Antonio Fernandez. And these guys, as Adrian's mentioned, they produce casks, they construct them, and they toast them themselves. They construct them, they age, they season the casks, and then they send them off to various locations in the world. I believe they export to over 30 countries. They send their casks to Ireland, Scotland, India, the US, Australia, and so on and so forth. So we will be visiting this incredible, incredible place, and we will be seeing port casks being constructed and toasted, satellites in real time, which is incredible. And this experience is not available to people just walking in off the street. We're very, very grateful that through Adrian's connections to the José Fer Cooperage that we've been able to put an experience like this together. And I don't think many people can actually say that they've witnessed a cask being toasted. I certainly haven't before anyway.
It's really interesting. Like historians will debate where fortified wines originated. Most of them point to Portugal and say that it was from the Douro Valley and the shipping of wines towards England, United Kingdom back in the 1600s, and them spoiling on the journey, that it was in Portugal that they figured out how to add high alcohol spirit to their fermenting wine and fortify that and solidify that for their journey. And the other interesting thing I discovered is that and this could be a myth, but it's a great story, so we'll lean into it, is that the reason we have a 700 ml or 750 ml bottle today is because it originates back in Portugal as well. They were the first to bottle their wines, and the myth or the story goes that the original glass blowers, that was the capacity of their lungs. So one full blow from their lungs gave them 750 or 750 mils to make a bottle. Whether that's true or not, don't worry about that. That's the best story you'll have heard today. So
we'll go with that. We'll go with that for sure. Adrian, when you were visiting the cooperage and selecting your casks, I know you say Daryl was kind of the man leading the charge there, but what do you think was his deciding factor in the casks that you did end up selecting, the port, the tawny? What was it kind of made him select these casks? And was it a connection Daryl had with the cooperage pre-existing before he essentially created Limavady Irish whiskey, and you kind of explored the cask management with Carnlough as well?
No, this was a new cooperage to Daryl. It was introduced to us by a friend we have in the Scottish whiskey industry. And look, you know what ultimately makes the decision is probably a good question for Daryl at some point, and we can cover that in Porto, I think. But I certainly do know that what was super impressive, and he was impressed with, was the whole process from start to finish. I know you talked about toasting the casks, and they lightly toast the casks, but if you want them deeply charred, they can do all that. But I remember watching them how they shave the cask as well, and how they take the old sediment and stuff out of the middle of the can, and all that was really interesting. And it's all very much right in front of you, and it's very much just noise and grit and all that good stuff. So I think to answer the question again, it's just we were watching a hands-on, very much boutique style process, and I do think that influenced Daryl in a big way. When we get to then tasting the wines that were used to season the casks and things like that, perhaps that's when it gets a little bit deeper. And again, I think let's cover that with him. But we were all super impressed. As I say, we left. And the people took us to the beach, and we drank lovely wine for the afternoon. But they're just great people, total professionals, and a craft right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, and they're still family owned and operated as well, aren't they? Completely, almost.
Very much. So Sandra and Felipe are brother and sister, and then their father's still involved as much, maybe not as much on the day-to-day. And interestingly, in the cooperage, there's two sides of their business. One is the original cooperage, and the other is a brand new cooperage that they may have launched now. We had a tour of it, and the same site as the new cooperage, which is super impressive, is the maturation site that they finish and season their barrels in. That's when we tasted some of the beautiful wines, and Sandra's father appeared kind of from out of nowhere, and all of a sudden was climbing up these towers of casks to pull out samples for us, and it was like Spider-Man, jumping around and fantastic. He doesn't have a lot of English, but his warmth and welcome and his hospitality was just jumping off him, and we just had the best experience at that part of the tour as well. So you see the old cooperage, and then the new cooperage, which I say is really modern and hyper trendy and really, really more efficient. And then go to the maturation site, and our experience, and hopefully the same again for this trip. As Sandra's dad may come out and entertain us a little bit.
There's a real beauty to that as well, I think, where you might not share a language, but you can share a glass of port, and the understanding will be mutual between the happiness in the eyes and the smiles on the faces.
Yeah. There was a big in time between, like, historically, port casks found their way to Ireland and UK, and we used whatever was left over. Like, there was no, back in the 1800s and early 1900s, there was no quality control sense. Like, when you were just using these, it was whatever wouldn't leak and hopefully didn't taint the flavor too much. You used it for storage and for maturation. And it's only in the last 35 years that port casks have started to make their way to Ireland, with us having more knowledge and more scientific understanding of their contribution. And I heard a great story of Billy Lighton's predecessor heading out to Middleton or heading out to Porto in the 1980s, 1988, 89, and knocking on the door of Sandeman and knocking on the door of some of these other port houses and asking for casks to take to Ireland. And they couldn't understand why Ireland would want these port casks. And they made a big investment. Eventually, they managed to convince Sandeman to give them a whole heap of casks that were the first new generation of port casks to come to Ireland in, many generations. And they went to Middleton and ended up being the casks that, Lauren, the whiskey you're drinking out of now, the Redbreast 27, would have aged in.
Yeah.
And it's just so there's this big gap between when we got these casks first, because they were kind of almost being thrown away, to now where there's a scientific approach to what you need. And like Daryl inspecting the casks, like there wouldn't have been much inspection going back 100 years, but amazing how far we've come. And now to see them being custom built for the whiskey industry, I think is special.
Yeah, and I mean, the Bushmill 16 year is one, obviously, of the world's most loved whiskies, and it's a port finish. It was launched in 1997, and that was probably one of, there you go, if not the first example of port being used in the maturation of Irish whiskey. Adrian, you had it perfectly on hand there. Thank you for that. I was looking for a bottle of it earlier and I couldn't find it. So there we go. 97 was when the 16 year was launched. So it is, you're right, it is kind of a more recent introduction into the maturation of Irish whiskey. But like, by God, do they make for a great aging, finishing cask? They really do. Anthony, you were going to say something there. Sorry, I think I spoke over you.
I was just, one of the things that Adrian has touched on there a couple of times is the relationships. I mean, and again, hearing Barry talk about Middleton, and we know from talking to Billy Lighton and all that the relationship he has with the sherry bodegas and that, it is all about relationships now. And again, we have built a business on that, of the relationships that we have with the distilleries here in Ireland. And now we're leaning on those exact relationships to get us further afield in the world and all that stuff. Even the cruise is on a relationship that Barry had from years ago. I don't mean it like that, Barry, but you know what I'm saying.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has gone from strength. I mean, again, leaning on these people, and then trust is everything. You've got to trust the suppliers, these craftsmen as well, amongst everything else, that they're going to do everything right for you, because ultimately you're trusting your spirit and your hard work into their barrel. So it's got to be done right. So it is all important, isn't it? The relationships along the way.
It's everything. Yeah, exactly. Like, you build up the relationships with people and you trust them, and you know it's a lovely feeling. We've said this before, it's a lovely feeling to arrive at a destination and know that you're in great hands. Adrian, when we arrived to the Harbourview, we've no worries about how we're going to be looked after. It's the same when you go to like Middleton Distillery and so on. You're looked after so incredibly well, and you just don't have to worry when you rock up the door. You know you're going to get a great experience. And I think to start off in the cooperage, watching casks being constructed, toasted, is such a brilliant way to kickstart the 3 days. I'm most excited about it for sure. And then on the Friday night, We'll grab a bit of dinner as a group together in Porto when we come back from the cooperage, and then we'll head to an incredible whiskey bar in Porto, it's fairly recently opened. I believe it's opened in around 2021. I think they opened the doors, or established in 2021, called Eddie's Club. And it is, I believe, also as well, Portugal's kind of first real dedicated actual whiskey bar. So they have over 200 whiskies from around the world in there: Scottish, Japanese, Irish, and it's an incredible kind of intimate little bar. And there is an event space there as well, which is great, because we're going to be having a little bar takeover in here with Outwalker, Limavady, and of course Carnlough Irish whiskies as well. So Eddie, the main man behind this bar, is an incredible bartender. He's got exceptional knowledge about all things cocktails, whiskies in general, and he's super passionate and really excited to host us here as well. So he is going to be creating a few cocktails, a few whiskey serves without Walker, Limavady and Carnlough for us to enjoy that evening. Isn't that right, Adrian?
Yeah, Eddie's it was a find for us. Carl and I were there the day before Daryl arrived, and we were just doing some tours and things around Porto and enjoying it and really getting into Porto. Porto is just like one of the most beautiful cities. And I just happened to Google, whiskey bars Porto, and up pops this bar. So nothing would do. We'd have to go. So we did. We went that evening, and Eddie, we introduced ourselves to Eddie as people who were from the industry, and the game changed. He loves to have people from the whiskey industry in his bar, and we got on brilliantly with him. And the knowledge this guy has of every bottle behind his bar is phenomenal. And then he mixes them and creates these unreal cocktails. He's just a talent, and again, one of the friendliest people you'd ever wish to meet. And when we told him Daryl was coming the next day, he was like, Daryl McNally? Yeah, he knew Daryl, knew Daryl's reputation, was just blown away that, and the following night he had a family gathering to go to, but we told him we'd be there, whatever time, I can't remember, 10:30 p.m., whatever. And he came along afterwards just to spend time and to have a chat with Daryl, and we went through a lot of the different whiskies that he had. He's just a buzz of real positive energy and a real he's just so into his whiskey, proud of his whiskies, proud of his knowledge, proud of his customers, proud of his bar. And at that point in time, he showed us what was going to become his new kind of private event space. I've yet to see how that manifested, but I'm pretty sure, knowing Eddie, it'll be a pretty cool little space that we can all go and have a bit of fun in.
Is Daryl putting his credit card behind the bar for us so when we go there? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Haven't crossed that bridge yet. We're not quite sure which account.
He doesn't know it yet.
There'll be some account abused, whether it's the Harbour View, Carnlough, Limmer Valley, we don't know.
He's not here to defend himself.
There'll be a free for all of some description, so let's see how we go.
I think it's so rare as well when you get someone who just lives and breathes hospitality, especially kind of post-COVID. There was a lot of really genuinely good people left the industry, so it's such a breath of fresh air to see people who genuinely do live and breathe it and are genuinely passionate and enthusiastic about guest experience. So we're in great hands there. I'll be calling in next week, so we'll see how we get on there. So that's really day one. So that's the Friday the 9th of October. Day two, then we're going a little bit further north, about 60 miles, 100 kilometers north of the city of Porto, where we'll find the absolutely stunning Douro Valley. The Douro Valley, it's about 43,000 hectares that are planted with vines. And one thing that I don't think a lot of people realize about the Douro Valley was it was actually a demarcated area before Bordeaux. So that kind of essentially means that there's very strict rules, laws, regulations in place where the grapes can be grown, harvested in order to produce port wine. So it was demarcated in 1756, and I think Bordeaux was 1855. So a real historic place. And you can see there, it's really, it's kind of a very dramatic landscape. You can see the terraced vines there. So it means that essentially it's impossible for any machinery to operate to mechanically remove anything, any grapes, and work in any way on this soil. So there's an awful lot of manual labor. It's it's manual harvesting, which is incredibly difficult, especially given that it has the typical Mediterranean climate, which is really hot summers, very hot, up to 40, 42 degrees, and very cold winters as well. The grapes tend to be harvested around September, October time. So a little bit cooler, but still a lot of manual labor involved there. But it is just an incredible place. So this is where all of the grapes are grown, of course, to produce port wine. And we'll be visiting here. We've got a little surprise regarding the Douro Valley and who will be visiting here and what we'll be doing. But we'll be taking you here. We'll be sipping on plenty of port wines, and we'll be enjoying this incredible landscape. And you can see the Douro River there as well. So historically, the grapes would have been grown here, of course, harvested here, fermented there as well. And then the port wine would have been actually sent down the Douro River on boats called rabelos. to Porto, actually to Villanova de Gaia, which is over the bridge from Porto, and that's where all of the port lodges and houses still are to this day. And it's just an incredible place, and I'm very excited for people to see it for the first time.
It's so unknown. It was so unknown to me until I got there. The scale of it. You go up the roads up the top of the mountains, and you're on the very edge of a cliff, looking down these terraces. Yeah. How every child doesn't know around the world in their geography books that this exists is beyond me, because it's like a natural wonder of the world.
Yeah.
And as far as the eyes can see, it's just vines, 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 and all individual vineyards. And it's like nothing has changed in hundreds of years. The only thing that's changed is that the boats don't take the grapes down the river anymore.
Yeah.
Now they go on trucks. But apart from that, I mean, it's exactly the same process. Manually, people picking the grapes manually in the heat. Nothing has changed. It's just astonishing how true to history port making is, and how the Douro Valley is.
Yeah. Adrian, did you head out there when you were over? Did you?
No, and that's one of the appeals of the trip for me personally, is that it's going to be my first time to the valley. We didn't have just the time to do it the last time we were there. We squeezed a lot in. And without letting the cat out of the bag, I'm really looking forward to that part of the trip. It's just going to be amazing. It is, as I say, the excitement I have for this bit of it is pretty much I'm just really excited to go to that part of the trip. I'm struggling to articulate here, because I know there's a wee secret that we can't tell anybody about. So that'll be good fun.
Yeah, we essentially have someone who is a bit of a legend in the port making world, who again, we're very thankful through Daryl's connections, will be hosting us in the Douro Valley and bringing us to some incredible places to drink some incredible port wine. So we're very excited about that. But we're keeping that up our sleeve for now. We'll announce that in the next couple of weeks. But it'll be incredible, and especially the time of year we're visiting as well is perfect. As I said earlier, the grapes tend to be harvested around September, very early October, so it's a great time of year. It won't be too hot. It'll just be a really, really lovely temperature to be there. So that's day two, an incredible way. And then that evening we'll head back to Porto. It's about an hour 30 drive, I think, to the Douro Valley, depending obviously where you go in it as well. It can be a little bit longer. And obviously back to Porto again as well. So we'll have a slightly more relaxed evening. After we come back, we can head to a local bar, or you can relax. You can spend a bit of time in the spa in the hotel, whichever you please. Then on the Sunday, so we're very aware, we are packing a lot into this trip. It's really 2 very intense days there with the Cooperage and with the Douro Valley. So on the Sunday morning and afternoon, we'll have to head back to the airport kind of early evening to catch our flights home. Or not, if you want to stay on, of course you can, but we'll be going home. We are giving you a bit of free time in Porto as well to explore. So you can see there the cable cars. That's the famous cable cars actually over in Gaia. So Porto, you're looking at Porto there just in the photo, and then Gaia is where all of the port lodges, port houses are. Sandemans, Graham's, Taylors are all over there. So you've got a bit of free time to explore some of the world's biggest names in port if you wish, or you can go to the local market. There's the Mercado do Balhal, which is an incredible market full of local crafts, local produce, fruits, vegetables, little crafts, tiles. Porto is very well known for how beautiful their tiles are, and the tiles in all of their buildings. So you can buy a few little souvenirs there if you wish. There is also a little bit on down the Chapel of Souls. There we go. As well, which is a beautiful blue chapel, again renowned for that incredible light blue tile work there. So there's loads to do, and we thought we'd give you a little bit of free time, because it really is the only chance you'll really get to see the city, aside from obviously doing all of our incredible port experience as well. So we'll have a bit of free time on the Sunday. We'll enjoy our last meal together in Porto, a late lunch, and then we'll head back to the airport to conclude what I think, and I hope you all agree, is a jam-packed, incredible 3 days in a beautiful city. Personally, my favorite European city. It was Budapest up until I visited Porto last year, and then Porto very quickly overtook it. Mixture of everything, incredible wine, incredible food. The people are lovely. The weather's amazing. I remember years ago when I was in Portugal, I was on a tour, and the tour guide told me that Portugal has more days of sunshine than any other European country. I think they have 360 days of sunshine, which is just incredible. So we'll be enjoying that for sure.
Gaia is amazing. That side of the river, like in Ireland, if you walk down the main street in a town in Ireland, you pop into a few centres, a few spars. In Gaia, you walk down the road, you just pop into the maturation warehouses of Sandyman, of Taylor's Place. Like even in the whiskey world, you can't just connect all these by foot. In any whiskey territory in the world, you can't just walk from warehouse to warehouse of different brands. But it's literally that easy. I remember walking in to Sandyman, and within 30 seconds of being in the door, you're deep into the maturation warehouse of Sandyman.
It is incredible. And you can see the little boats there, the Rebelos, where the casks would have been taken down the Douro River into Gaia there too. So it's, as you mentioned earlier, Barry, it's just incredible how it really hasn't actually changed that much. It's still remarkably authentic, which I love, and it makes for such a great experience and a really, really great learning experience as well. Gaia is incredible.
Yeah,
really it's interesting you say learning, Lauren. I mean, what I'm looking forward again to going back to. I probably need 2 or 3 more trips to understand, but all the different styles of port. Okay, we can do ruby, tawny. Probably a lot of people understand that.
Yeah.
But we were looking at these colheita casks and these colheita finishes and all that sort of stuff, and to see the shops in the Sandymans and all their products in front of you, and the people who can educate you on them, it's an Aladdin's cave. And so that's the other upside of this, is that you actually can learn a little bit about port. And I did subsequently in our house now. We've got white port and tonic on the go quite regularly. My wife is she loves it.
Classic.
So that's the other bit of this that actually we're going to learn about. It's not just the influence of it on whiskey, but actually as a really beautiful drink on its own, and the heritage to it is fantastic opportunity, I think.
White port is so underrated. I think white port, it's absolutely beautiful, so pretty. So floral, and rosé as well. Now I know some people are a bit. There's a question mark over whether or not they want to recognize that as a style, but it's very much there. Like any of the bars I went into, rosé port was on offering as well, alongside the white, the tawny, the old vintage, and so on. Sorry, Barry, go on.
No, there's just so many little laneways leading up out of Gaia, out from the quay where all of the lodges are, and all these little holes in the wall, like they're little caves. They've all got tasting flights, and they've all got chances to sample, even if they don't have a lodge, even if a porthouse doesn't have a lodge down in Gaia. You go into one of these little caves, and for 20 euros, you get a flight of wines that are just incredible. So it's just spend the day wandering around Gaia, tasting these wines is just the best way to spend the day.
Yeah, and then they bring out all the cheese and everything to pair with it as well. The sardines, little cans of sardines, are renowned in Porto as well. And Gaia's over the bridge as well. The Don Luis, the first bridge, it's so accessible. Just a beautiful walk over the bridge over the river as well. It's a really walkable city too, which is great. No, I'm really excited for this one. I'm glad it's finally out there into the world, off the ground, which is amazing.
Book now, book your ticket, book your flights, join us.
Lauren, what side of the river is the hotel on?
Porto.
Okay, so maybe an opportunity to use the old tram system as well, which is it's quite stunning. It's absolutely beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah, the tram's really easy to work around the city. Uber as well will work as well if you want to catch a quick cab over across the city, if you find a bar that's a little bit out of the way. Over to the beach as well. The beach is there, is pretty accessible. It's not far away. So yeah, everything is very much within reach, which yes, exactly what we always try to incorporate a bit of free time into our trips. It's very important to do so, to give you a bit of downtime, but also to see things that might be on your list as well, aside from everything else. most important question then, of course, is the cost. Barry, can you throw that back up there, please? Thank you. So reservations are open. We've already had a few bookings, which is incredible. So thank you very much, everyone who has already booked to join us. So head over to our website, irishwhiskeyexperiences.com, click on the Porto Whiskey Weekend Experience, and you will find all of the details there that you need to know. The full itinerary is there. We will add to that. We will be adding to that over the next weeks and months, as we always do, with a few little extra surprises in there too. So the cost per person is €1,200 per person sharing. And that includes obviously all of your port experiences, the cooperage, Douro Valley, the takeover, all of your tastings, all of the everything is included in that, all your experiences. Your 3 nights in the beautiful 5-star Porto Palacio Hotel. That also includes private transport. We will have our own bus to bring us around the city and out to the Douro Valley, of course, as well. It includes your breakfast every single morning. Get your beautiful Mediterranean breakfast, a Portuguese breakfast to start you off for the day before we head out and drink a lot of port, and or lunch and dinner every single day as well. And of course, we love to surprise you too. So there'll be a few of those thrown in there too. You can also pay for this as usual, as you can with all of our experiences, in smaller monthly installments of €200 per person. So the sooner you book, the longer time you have to spread your payments over. So €200 per person, you can book that monthly. That will come out of your bank account automatically every month on the same date that you originally reserved. And the full balance will then be due at the very end of September. €200 per person, you can reserve today. Secure your place. This is a relatively small experience, just due to the nature of accessing the cooperage and the warehouses and so on and so forth. So if you're interested, as always, we always say don't delay. October 8th to the 11th, we're going to Porto, and we'd love you to come with us.
You.
Looking forward to that. It's going to be, and that's the thing that you mentioned it too, about the tall glass with the white port. I mean, the versatility of port as well. I mean, again, we have it here in the bar. Obviously, a lot of the old men and come in with their brandy and port, but it's actually now creeping into tall glass drinks as well, and people are getting into it.
It's really refreshing.
Price per person, Peter. So 1,200 per person sharing.
Yeah, per person sharing, Peter. And again, we did send out, a lot of you expressed a kind of an additional interest in this weekend, and there was a question of whether or not you would be comfortable sharing with someone else if you were a solo traveler, to kind of avoid the single supplement fee there of €400. So if you are joining as a solo traveler, just let us know whether or not you would be comfortable to join with someone, and we can pair you if that's something you'd be comfortable with. Obviously, it's entirely up to you. But yes, that is per person sharing. I am loving this Redbreast 27. Going on very well. Not quite as good as Anthony's Method of Madness, of course.
Surprise.
Like Lauren starts off like pouring a 27-year-old, and Anthony goes, "That's grand. I have a 28-year-old."
I actually had chosen it because, as I say, I did end up actually going for a second glass of it as well, because I forgot how good it is. It is a phenomenal bottle of whiskey.
Can't take it with you.
No,
Correct.
no.
Correct.
I'll have to start trawling the Earl auction site to see if I can find another one.
Yeah,
I'm going to try some Bushmills. I just in case anyone missed it, I do have this as well. But I'm going to try. This is Darrell's. This is that. Yeah, sorry, you missed that. That one. Yeah. This is Darrell's.
Adrian, why don't you tell us? Why don't you tell us a bit more about Carnock Irish whiskey? Go on. You dived into it a wee bit there, but not quite as much.
Well, Carnock Irish whiskey is just it's we blend, bottle, and finish in the hotel. So we have a very small warehouse where we have about 50, 64-litre casks across a range of finishes. But our first range of finishes were Tawny Port, Ruby Port, and we had some Madeira as well. And that all sold out very, very well. And that gave us an encouragement then to go and invest in some more casks. So now we have a range of sherry. So we've got Palo Cortado, Oloroso, Pedro Jimenez, and some Amontillado, which are now finishing for our second release, which The first of which I think we're meeting with Darryl next week just to confirm, but I think we'll run with a Tawny Port blend. So we've got a 6-year-old marriage of pot still and malt in a Tawny Port, and that's going to make up approximately 90% of the bottle. And then we're putting some 24-year-old in that mix, and that's also finished in Tawny Port. So that's an interesting one. We've sent some of that to the Irish Whiskey Society charity tasting coming up at the end of the month. So I'm really interested to hear their feedback. It's only a sample at the moment, and we're not quite sure if it will make it to our next release or not. But by next week, we'll sign it off in house, and hope we will or we won't sign it off in house. That we're working towards that. So. So that's what Carnock Irish Whiskey is. It's a very boutique hotel-led whiskey. Really, you can fill your own bottle in the hotel. We'll have something always available online, so our international guests can choose one and ship. And then we'll also have hotel exclusives at all times as well. So you must be in the hotel to avail of it. So there's a little mix there. It's very boutique, very small, but it's good fun, and it adds a significant amount of credibility to Ireland's Whiskey Hotel because we're actually finishing and blending and bottling our own produce. So yeah. That's what Carnock Irish Whiskey is.
Incredible.
It's amazing. I was actually doing the photography for this month's auction, and the amount of bottles that I came across with Darryl's signature on it.
Yeah, the Liberties.
Yeah, a lot of the Liberties.
Yeah.
As well. And again, you forget that I mean, he's been in the industry so long. It is decades and his experience, and I know he's consulted on many other things as well with many other people as well. So I mean, his range and his input into the industry has been, quite extensive and huge.
There's very little elements of the industry that he hasn't touched or isn't still touching. He's just a machine when it comes to the whiskey industry, and the passion's still there. Oh, great crack to start. yeah.
Get him behind a bar and he'll pour a drink or two.
Oh yeah,
he'll be pouring his own whiskies on the cruise ship the same way Billy Lighton was. Darryl will be behind the bar. Absolutely, Darryl will be behind that bar.
Yeah,
it'll be brilliant. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's well done again, Lauren. I think you've done exceptional yet again, backing up with Adrian and Darryl, and the work that goes into this is quite extensive. So fair dues to you yet again. Now I will say it is your job, but I mean, albeit for me to say.
Hold off a while till she sells it. Like it's grand.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'll be giving everybody massive FOMO next week when I'm in Porto when it's 26 degrees and I'm sipping a wee glass of port while I'm sitting on my laptop overlooking Gaia.
Who's paying for that?
This is a work trip. Don't be at it at all.
Absolutely is.
Yes, is. Oh, I'll be working hard. You won't. You'll be.
Yes, I will. Just wait till you see the content that's coming out next week.
So if this is a 3-day trip, like in October, why are you going out there for a whole week?
Not 2 weeks. I thought it was 2 weeks.
No, it's not 2 weeks. I can stay gladly out there. I'll stay out there for 2 months.
Are you actually going for a week?
Yeah, I'm actually going for a week. Yeah.
Really? To get content?
Yep.
It takes a very long time to take a photograph. It takes about 8 hours to take one photograph.
Listen, I'm going back out to the Douro Valley. I'm going to be in many of the port houses in Gaia. I'm going to be at the bridge.
There's no internet connection up in Lauren's house, so she can't get photos off the internet. So she had to go get them.
She's cycling to the Douro Valley.
It just doesn't work here.
all the content that we had last year, she discarded. It wasn't of good enough quality. No, sorry, not good enough.
Well, you give her that. Sorry, we didn't realize that. We were never told that.
Full transparency. It was passed over.
Changes things.
Sorry, that's not good enough.
I think it's well worth it. I mean, it's just to get out there and see it as well, and it's boots on the ground as well, so you know exactly what the lay of the land as well. I mean, if you want to move out there for a month, Lauren, I mean, that's
no problem.
how are you ever going to get between living on cruise ships and living in Porto, and are you ever going to be home ever?
I would rather not be, honestly. I'm good with living on a cruise ship. I'm good with living in various places in Europe. Yeah, that'll do me nicely. Well, we still have to buy our own ship so I can live on it and operate it permanently.
Talk to Adrian there. He's used to my boat.
I've got.
Yeah.
Do you want to move
You got a boat?
Do you want to move to Glenarm? There's a
can live on that.
boat for you there. It's even got a heater.
Has it got one of those wee beds? It's like underneath, like down
That's
in.
it. Yeah, under the cabin, a little triangular bed. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll hotspot off my phone for doing work. I'll hotspot off my phone. No Wi-Fi. Have to install it on the ship. But no, listen, we've got a really, really good last half of the year lined up. I'm really excited. Obviously, Adrian, we're staying with yourselves in September for 4 nights in the Harbourview Hotel as part of our Antrim to Ardbeg whiskey bus. And we're heading over to Scotland for the day, so we're going international then. And then a couple of weeks later, we'll be going international in Porto. So we've got a brilliant last half of the year lined up for now. And we were chatting a wee bit as well about 2027 next year, and even 2028 as well. We're looking at more cruises. We're exploring more international trips, longer international trips as well, week-long trips.
Oh, wow.
So there's lots in the pipeline. Very, very excited on all the things that we're working on at the minute. And it's just such a joy when we get to finally introduce them to the world and put them live on our website as well, because there is a lot of work goes on in behind the scenes, which nobody sees apart from us. And it's lovely when they actually come to fruition, which is great. Barry and Anthony just laugh at me because they think I design experiences around where I want to go, which is not actually true. I'm giving to the people.
Exactly what
Not bad strategy.
I haven't
The
seen you
reasonable
design any
strategy, if you
experiences
ask me.
in Cork.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I haven't seen you design any experiences in Cork.
Yes, we have. Yes, I have. You know I love Cork.
We can get a cruise down the River Castletown here in Dundalk if you want.
Perfect. That'll do.
There you go. There you go. And we can do a bar takeover in JJ Sheehy's and
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
you could swear I'll have a big searchlight at the back and you can swear you're in somewhere sunny and warm.
Perfect.
Turn the heat on.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah. Fair deal.
Dream big,
Sky's the limit.
dream big.
Dundalk.
And I'll get Adrian to come down and stand behind the bar. And we've got ultimate hospitality then instead of me
Absolutely.
swearing at people. So, there you go.
You balance out. Adrian will balance out you swearing and giving out at people.
Yeah.
He's in work out there now. Yeah, that's it.
Yin and
There you
yang.
go. They actually, I mean, we are calling in with you on the way up to Carnlough, which you may have forgotten, but that is happening.
All right. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Get the
Okay.
Guinness poured.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm doing it. You're definitely not doing it. You're terrible at pulling points.
I'm really not terrible.
You are
We also had about 6
Adrian,
whiskeys
don't
that night.
ever, if she comes up and says that she'll help behind the bar, don't ever let her do it. It'll just, the
No.
generations and the years that you've spent building your reputation, gone.
She
politely-
does a lovely 7-part pour in a Guinness. If that's the thing.
I'll politely decline.
Yeah, that's.
I learned recently that the dead rabbit do a 3-part pour, so I'll do a 7-part pour.
I thought you did already.
No, I don't. No, I'll stick to pouring whiskey straight out of the bottle into your glass. That'll do me.
And you make a good Irish coffee.
I can do very good Irish coffee. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you can do a good Irish coffee, Guinness should be pretty easy, to be fair.
Yeah, true.
She does use a spoon. She uses a spoon for the Guinness, all right.
And a little bit of nutmeg on the top.
I'm under the tap with a spoon over the Guinness, trying to get the head on top.
Spooning it off. That'd be more like it.
Oh dear.
When I first started working in bars when I was young, working in the Commodore Hotel in Cove, there was an old fella. It was an old hotel where the old staff lived in the hotel. They lived in. And this fella had been there 50, 60 years, I'd say. And he had a knife. Like, he used a knife with his Guinness. You remember back in the day when the Guinness came from 2 different barrels. And so what he'd do is he'd use the back of the knife, the straight side of the knife, and he'd half kind of slice the top of the head and then just whip it off so that the other half would form the kind of the dome, before nitrogen and the technology we have today. But my first introduction to pouring a pint was using cutlery. So Lauren, you're not that far away from it with a spoon.
A guy I learned bar work from when I started working in bars was the exact same, and he still did it, even though it was modern pints. He still used the knife, half the pint off, and then it'd finish up.
But
like, all the Guinness would be like splashed against the dirt and the stickiness inside the back of the bar, because just whooshing the Guinness off the top of the head.
Yeah. There's an ad who I think is still on, maybe it's still on TV, or it definitely was a number of years ago. It wasn't obviously Guinness, it wasn't Stout, but I think it was maybe Stella, and it showed them like flicking the head off the pint. I'm pretty sure it was Stella. I'll actually look it up. Anyway, sorry.
An older barman I kind of learned off at one point, when people ordered an Irish whiskey, he immediately said, "Would you like ice?" And the number of times people said yes, because it was one of those, it was just like an automatic answer. Yes, I'd like ice in the Irish whiskey, or my hot whiskey. Was this Peter? Peter. Funny, the Londonderry Arms. That's now the Harbour View. Many memories of boarders at Garantar. For those who may not know, there's an old castle that was part of the Marchioness of Londonderry's estate. That is now a school with 800 pupils. Previously, around the 50s, was taken over by the Catholic Church and made into a boarding school. And many boarders would still who would have had their parents come take them up for Sunday lunch into the hotel. And part of the restaurant that was then operational, we've retained its original kind of design and decor. We deliberately haven't changed it much, and that's for nostalgic reasons. And the number of people, Peter, and I'm sure some of your maybe your friends from the time, who have called in recently just to see the changes and are so pleased that we've left the floor, we've uncovered terrazzo, we've kept the old chairs, we've changed curtains, but they're still, you would swear they were back to the 70s and 80s, and we've retained that part of the hotel for that nostalgic reason. So yeah, thanks very much. Hopefully you get up to see the Harbour View and at the next available opportunity and see the changes we've made.
Lovely stuff.
What else do people need to know, or have we covered everything?
I think we've covered everything. So I guess just a quick recap. So October 8th to the 11th, 3 nights in Porto. Flights, if you're flying from Dublin, is on the 8th at 7:30 p.m. at night with Ryanair. As Barry said earlier, don't delay in booking them, because you never know when these things sell out. So book your flights, book your place. You can reserve your place from as little as €200 a month. And the final payment will be due at the end of September. So you've got a bit of time until then, a good 5 months or so until then. And we're really excited to bring you a little step backwards to the origins of port, the journey of port, the various different styles, port casks, how they're used, how they're seasoned over there, used to age port over there before they even touch Irish soil, to be used to age some of your favorite Irish whiskies. Finish some of your favorite Irish whiskies, Redbreast 27, Bushmill 16, Carnlough Irish whiskey, so on and so forth. So it's a little bit of a different trip for us. We obviously normally focus all of our trips in Ireland, but we're expanding our horizons a little bit, which is no bad thing.
Have you forgotten about the Caribbean?
Pardon?
Have you forgotten about the Caribbean? We don't focus on Ireland at all anymore. We're gone international now.
True. But most of our bus trips. But yes,
this is a whiskey bus.
This is our third international trip, because I think you said second at the start.
No, I don't think I said
second this year.
Second this year. Yeah. Technically, it's our. Is it not our fourth? Because we went to Scotland last year, Adrian, with you.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Technically,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. And for those wondering why we can't book the flights, or we can't, it's not a bundle with the flights. We're not. So to do that, we'd have to be a travel agency, and we're not a travel agency. So we're land only. So we don't take care of anything getting to the destination. So all of our experiences start at the destination. If you need any help with any recommendations on flights, like Aaron said, let us know as well.
We can't legally, we can't book flights.
No,
Exactly.
we cannot book flights.
Yeah,
There's
not
licensing
legally.
and everything involved with that. Just on something on the flights, you can fly out the day before. I mean, there is Ryanair that is flying in the full 7 days, so you can fly in the day before and the day after if you wanted to extend that. Or as we alluded to, you can fly from Belfast going through Stansted, Manchester, or any of those as well. So there is good connections there as well. It's not that the only flights are available on that Thursday evening, but there is
Exactly. And
I think Nigel popped in earlier on. We never thought of taking Nigel to Portugal, did we?
Nigel, how are you with the cobbled streets of Porto navigating?
Nigel's our bus driver, by the way. For those who don't know who Nigel is.
Yes, Nigel has been our bus driver for many of our whiskey bus experiences in Ireland. So Nigel was in the chat there earlier, as Anthony said. There he is. Nigel could drive the bus through the eye of a needle. He's navigated some of the windiest roads in Ireland, but we don't know how he would fare in Porto, so we'll maybe leave it to the professionals over there on this occasion.
His velvet voice would be resonating through the streets of Porto. There you go.
Booming. Booming. Yeah. Nobody would understand a word he was saying. Nobody. We wouldn't get anywhere. We'd get nowhere. But I would say I lost my train of thought there. I think that was it, though. Yeah. And yes, again, I mean, we're hosting our experiences from the 8th to the 11th, all of our visits, etc. As Anthony said, there's no reason why you can't go out a couple of days earlier, relax, eat and drink whatever you like, have a pastel de nata with a freddo cappuccino in the mornings, whatever you fancy, and you don't have to leave when we leave either. This is just the official dates of our own trip. So you can head out there, you can make a week of it. If you're coming from the US, you can come over, you can head to Lisbon for a few days, or even somewhere in Spain. It's entirely up to you. This trip is what you make it. These are just the dates that we're hosting our incredible experiences on. IrishWhiskeyExperience.com. Head over there. You can book your place. You can drop us an email as well. info@Irish Whiskey Experiences if you have any questions at all about anything, any aspect of the trip, and we'll be happy to help you.
Lovely. Sinead.
We look forward to it. We look forward to seeing everybody there. And Adrian, I think.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you all there. It'd be great. And Darryl couldn't make it this evening, but trust me, there's a whirlwind coming. So.
That's an understatement. Slán, everybody, thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you very much.
Take care.